confidence, but ends in chaos. One wrong turn, one mistake, one moment underground, and everything turns into unimaginable terror. As always, viewer discretion is advised. February 7th, 1988. 3 divers arrived at Orange Grove Sink in Suwannee County, Florida, on a Sunday morning. The sink was a typical Florida cave system, a vertical shaft dropping into limestone, opening into chambers and passages carved by underground water over millennia. Clear water, interesting geology, and the thrill of exploring underwater passages drew divers to these systems despite the inherent dangers. John Gilligan, 18 years old, was the most enthusiastic about the dive. He had achieved his PADI Advanced Open Water Certification, a level that indicated he had completed additional training beyond basic open water diving. Over an 18-month period, he had logged 20 dives. That number might sound substantial to a non-diver, but in the diving community, 20 dives represents limited experience. More significantly, Gilligan had no cavern certification and no cave certification, the specialized training required for safe overhead environment diving. His equipment reflected his limited experience and preparation. He carried a single 80 cubic foot, 11.1 liter tank, the standard recreational scuba tank. No octopus regulator, meaning no redundant air source if his primary regulator failed. A single light, a UK 500, a decent underwater light, but representing a single point of failure if it malfunctioned. In cave diving, the rule is 3 lights minimum: primary, backup, and emergency backup. Gilligan had one. The 3 divers entered Orange Grove Sink and descended into the lower cavern. The passage opened up from the entrance shaft into larger chambers, the limestone walls disappearing into darkness beyond their light's range. The water was clear initially, visibility extending for significant distances, allowing them to see the passages branching off in different directions. They made a decision that would prove fatal. They used no guideline. In cave diving, a continuous guideline to the surface is not optional. It's the fundamental safety protocol that separates cave diving from open water diving. The guideline marks your route in, provides tactile reference and zero visibility, and offers a physical connection to the exit when disorientation strikes. Gilligan led the group deeper into the cave system. His enthusiasm and confidence pushed them forward, exploring, seeking whatever lay beyond the visible passages. They encountered 2 major constrictions at the bottom of the cavern, tight spots where the passage narrowed dramatically, requiring careful body positioning and controlled breathing to pass through without disturbing the fine silt that coated every surface. Gilligan navigated through both constrictions, his companions following. They emerged into a small chamber beyond the second restriction. The chamber was unremarkable, just another void in the limestone, offering no particularly interesting features or passages leading to Virgin Cave. Gilligan made the assessment that there was nothing here worth the risk of continuing and decided to turn the dive. He pulled out his slate, an underwater writing board that divers use to communicate when verbal communication is impossible. He wrote a message to his companion. "Nothing here, let's leave." The decision to exit was sound. They had penetrated deep into the cave, passed through 2 constrictions, and found nothing particularly interesting. Time to head back to the entrance and the surface. But the exit would be far more difficult than the entry had been. The 3 divers had disturbed silt during their inbound journey. Fin kicks near the floor, bodies brushing against walls, movements through the constrictions. In open water, disturbed sediment disperses quickly in current. But in caves with minimal water flow, silt behaves differently. It hangs suspended in the water column, reducing visibility from tens of feet to inches within seconds. The disturbance they had created going in was now waiting for them on the way out. Gilligan's companion began backing out of the chamber, moving carefully, trying to retrace their route. But the visibility was already gone. The water that had been clear was now totally silted, a brown murk that absorbed light, made navigation impossible, transformed familiar passages into alien environments where you couldn't see your hand in front of your face. The companion managed to back out despite the conditions. Perhaps they moved slowly enough to avoid creating additional silt disturbance. They successfully retraced their route through the silted passages and emerged back into clearer water. Gilligan made a different decision. Instead of backing out the way they had come, retracing the known route through the two constrictions, he decided to ascend vertically. But this wasn't open water. This was a cave system with complex three-dimensional geometry. Going up didn't necessarily lead to the exit. It might lead to a dead-end pocket in the ceiling. It might lead to a restriction too tight to pass. It might lead nowhere. As he moved up, he saw there was a vertical hole which seemed passable. Gilligan entered the tight vertical hole, his body ascending into the constriction. The hole was barely passable, requiring precise body positioning. His single 80 cubic foot tank contained a finite amount of breathing gas, and he had already consumed a significant portion during the inbound journey and exploration. Every breath depleted his remaining supply. Every moment spent navigating the tight vertical passage brought him closer to the moment when he would draw on his regulator and get nothing. That moment came while he was still in the constriction. Gilligan ran out of air. The gauge would have been in the red zone for minutes, warning him that he was approaching empty. Then came the increasingly difficult draws on the regulator as the tank pressure dropped. Finally, the moment when he inhaled and got no resistance. The tank was empty. There was no air left, and he was still stuck in a tight vertical hole 120 feet, 37 meters, below the surface in a silted-out cave. Without air, panic set in immediately. The instinct to breathe is overwhelming. You can hold your breath for a limited time, but eventually your body demands air. Gilligan tried to continue ascending through the constriction, trying to reach whatever lay above, hoping desperately that it led to the surface, or at least to a pocket of trapped air where he could breathe. But the constriction was too tight, his movements too panicked, his body unable to navigate the geometry of the rock with the precision required. He became stuck and simply ran out of time. The urge to breathe became irresistible. When he finally could hold his breath no longer, he inhaled water instead of air. The water filled his lungs, triggering violent coughing that only pulled more water in. Within minutes, he was unconscious. Within a few more minutes, he was dead, stuck in a tight vertical hole, his UK 500 light still burning, marking the location of his body in the darkness. His companions surfaced without him. They waited for him to emerge, growing more and more concerned as minutes passed. Eventually,